There is a hunger in you, a deep, silent, and often shamed yearning to be chosen, to be desired, to be held in the mind and heart of another with an intensity that borders on the obsessive. You have been sold spells, strategies, and games to create this addiction. You have been taught to manipulate, to play aloof, to carefully curate a persona of mystery. But these are the tricks of the witch, and they create only a phantom, a hollow obsession that will shatter the moment he touches the real you. What if I told you that the most powerful, the most enduring, the most soul-deep addiction does not come from a game, but from a depth of being? That to make him addicted to you, you must first become the most intoxicating version, a version of your own true, unfiltered self. You have been taught that mystery is a tactic, a game of withholding information to keep him guessing. You believe addiction is born from not returning a text, from playing busy, from constructing a facade of unavailability. But I tell you, this is a superficial and ultimately fragile illusion. You are building a house of cards in a hurricane. The true, unshakable addiction is not to a mask, but to a depth so profound it can never be fully plumbed. This is not about playing a role. It is about becoming a vessel for something eternal. It is about embodying an archetype of intrigue so authentically that you cease to be a mere person and become a living, breathing portal to the numinous. We are not addicted to people. We are addicted to the universal, primal patterns, the archetypes they embody. The lover, the queen, the sorceress, the wise woman, these are not roles to be acted, but energies to be integrated. When you merely act like the queen, you are putting on a costume. It can be impressive, even intimidating, but it is a performance that requires energy to maintain and will eventually crack under the pressure of true intimacy. But when you do the arduous inner work of cultivating a regal inner authority, when you make decisions from a place of sovereignty, when you command respect through your self-respect, when your boundaries are unshakable because they are born of self-love, you are no longer acting. You are the queen. The energy is not a garment you wear. It is the very essence of your being. This is the difference between a mask and a vessel. A man becomes addicted, not to the woman who pretends to be mysterious, but to the woman who is mysterious because her inner world is a vast, unexplored continent. He is not hooked on a strategy of delayed replies. He is hooked on the thrilling discovery of a soul that is authentically complex, layered, and deep. Every conversation, every challenge, every moment of vulnerability reveals a new landscape. One day, he encounters the fierce warrior who defends her values. The next, he glimpses the compassionate healer who tends to wounds with profound empathy. Later, he is captivated by the playful muse who finds delight in the simple beauty of existence. You are not a static painting to be admired and then forgotten. You are a living, breathing, epic poem with new verses being written every day. This requires you to turn inward, to mine the riches of your own soul. It demands that you cultivate a genuine interior life through reading, creating, reflecting, and wrestling with your own shadows. Your intrigue must be real. It must be earned through your own commitment to your evolution. He will sense this. He will feel that he has not won a prize, but has been granted access to a sacred and endless revelation. The addiction is not to you as a fixed object of desire, but to the dynamic, unfolding process of your becoming. So let the masks fall, let the games end. Do not seek to be a sphinx with a riddle he can solve. Seek to become an ocean whose depths he can never fully reach, yet will spend a lifetime in awe of. Do not pretend to be a mystery. Become one so authentically that your very existence is an invitation to the grandest adventure of his life. The foundation of all lasting addiction is not mystery for mystery's sake. It is the breathtaking, terrifying, and magnificent encounter with a soul that is courageously and utterly real. You have begun the work of becoming a vessel, of integrating the archetypes so your very being becomes a source of endless intrigue. But now, a critical test arises, for this vessel must be filled not with the need for his approval, but with a substance far more potent and magnetic. We now turn to the core alchemy of attraction, the transmutation of seeking validation into radiating self-worth. This is not about arrogance, it is about a fundamental energetic shift, where your presence becomes the prize dot. Consider the dynamics of addiction. An addict craves a substance because they believe it will fill a void within themselves. Their pursuit is one of lack, of desperation. If you seek his attention, his validation, his love to fill a hollow space in your own sense of self, you are, in essence, presenting yourself as the addict. You are signaling that you need him to feel complete. This energy is palpable. It is a weight that repels even as it clings. No one becomes addicted to a beggar, no matter how charming their plea. The object of addiction is always perceived as something of immense, self-contained value. The alchemical work, then, is to turn inward and perform the miracle of self-valuation. You must take the base metal of your insecurities, the leaden belief that you are not enough, the fear that you are unworthy of love, and subject it to the fierce heat of your own conscious attention. You must sit with these feelings, not as truths, but as old ghosts to be confronted and dissolved. This is the inner furnace where you forge your self-worth. It is a painful, solitary process. It requires you to become the source of your own approval, to mine your sense of significance from the bedrock of your own accomplishments, your own integrity, your own resilience. You must learn to validate yourself so thoroughly that his opinion becomes a pleasant addition, not a necessary foundation. When this transformation occurs, your entire energetic footprint shifts. You cease to orbit his world, hoping for gravitational pull. You become a sun in your own right, radiating a calm, assured light. You enter a room not to extract value from others, but to contribute your own. This sovereignty is the most potent aphrodisiac in existence. A man does not become addicted to someone who needs him. Such a dynamic creates obligation, which eventually breeds resentment. He becomes addicted to someone whose self-contained wholeness he is honored to be invited into. Your time, your attention, your intimacy, these become privileges, not entitlement. He must earn the right to share in the energy of a person who is already complete. This is not a game where you pretend you don't need him. It is a profound inner state where you know on a cellular level that you are the source of your own fulfillment. Your peace is not dependent on his actions. Your joy is not contingent on his mood. You are a sovereign being, and your presence is a gift you choose to offer. He will feel this. He will sense that to be in your good graces is to be granted access to a rare and a valuable state of being. He will not feel needed, he will feel chosen. And there is no greater hook into the human psyche than the desire to be chosen by someone who has every option to be alone, content in their own glorious company. So let the despot energy of the seeker fall away. Let the alchemical fire burn away the need for external validation. Become the prize not by demanding to be treated as one, but by embodying such unshakable self-worth that the only logical conclusion for anyone in your presence is to treat you as such. The addiction begins here in the silent, radiant certainty that you are and have always been enough dot. And so you learn to become the sun in your own solar system, radiating a worth that is self-contained and undeniable. You have established that your presence is the prize. But a sun, while magnificent, can be predictable in its ascent and descent. The human soul craves not just light, but also the thrilling, unexpected spectacle of the meteor shower, the awe of the eclipse, the mystery of the shifting constellations. This brings us to the next vital layer, the cultivation of the unpredictable soul. This is not about the juvenile games of being hot and cold, but about transcending predictability altogether by becoming a person of such genuine depth and evolution that you are a perpetual source of fascinating discovery. The common advice is to create unpredictability through action. Be suddenly busy, cancel plans, withhold affection. This is a cheap imitation, a puppet theater of intrigue. It creates anxiety, not addiction. The mind gamester is eventually revealed to be shallow, and the addiction she creates is to the drama itself, which is exhausting and unsustainable. The true, captivating unpredictability is not of action, but of being. It is the unpredictability of a soul that is actively, consciously, and courageously evolving. You are not a finished product. You are a living, breathing process of becoming dot. Imagine his experience. One evening, he encounters the fierce warrior in you, as you articulate a boundary or defend a principle with a clarity that is both shocking and admirable. The next day, he witnesses the gentle healer as you respond to a vulnerability in him with a compassion that seems to hold the whole world in its embrace. On a random Tuesday, you are the playful muse, pulling him into a spontaneous dance in the kitchen, your laughter a sudden, unexpected melody that breaks the monotony of an ordinary day. You are not a single note repeatedly played. You are a complex symphony, and he is never quite sure which movement he will experience next, only that each one is authentic, powerful, and deeply moving. This requires you to be in a constant, loving dialogue with all the parts of yourself. You must give space to your seriousness and your silliness, your ambition and your contentment, your strength and your vulnerability. You must be committed to your own growth, constantly reading, learning, challenging your own beliefs, and integrating new understandings. Your inner world must be so rich and dynamic that it naturally overflows into your external reality in surprising and delightful ways. He is not addicted to a strategy of unpredictability. He is addicted to the thrilling reality of a woman who is genuinely, endlessly interesting to herself. And therefore, to him, do not mistake this for inconsistency. This is not about being emotionally volatile or unreliable. That is chaos, and chaos is repelling. This is about multidimensionality. It is the stability of the oak tree that nonetheless presents a different pattern of light and shadow with every passing hour of the day. He can rely on your core character, your integrity, your strength, but he can never predict the specific, beautiful form these qualities will take in any given moment. So, abandon the script. Tear up the rule book. Your mission is not to keep him guessing with petty tactics. Your mission is to become so fully, complexly, and passionately alive that the act of knowing you is an infinite exploration. He will not be addicted to a puzzle he can solve, but to a universe he can never fully map, yet will spend a lifetime thrilled to navigate. The greatest addiction is to a source that is both a safe harbor and a perpetual adventure. Become that living paradox. Let your soul be so vast and so dynamic that his fascination with you becomes a permanent, joyful, and irresistible state of being. You have learned to become a universe of fascinating contradictions, a soul of such dynamic depth that his interest is held in a state of perpetual awestruck engagement. But fascination, for all its power, is a surface current. To transform it into an addiction that anchors in the very bedrock of his being, we must voyage into deeper waters. We must move from the spectacle of your complexity to the profound impact of your presence. This is about mastering the currency of emotional resonance, where every interaction is not merely an exchange of words, but a transfer of meaning that echoes in the silent chambers of his soul. Most of the world communicates in noise. It is the static of small talk, the predictable exchange of daily pleasantries, the safe and sanitized sharing of opinions that carry no risk and therefore no reward. These interactions are forgotten as quickly as they are spoken. They are the white noise of social existence. To become addictive, you must become a signal that cuts through this noise. Your words, your silence, your very energy must carry a frequency that vibrates with emotional truth. This is not about being constantly intense or dramatic. It is about having the courage to be real, to touch the authentic core of a moment, and in doing so, to touch the authentic core of him. How is this resonance created? It is forged in the fires of courageous presence. It is when you listen to him not just to reply, but to truly understand, and in your understanding, you reflect back an insight he had not yet formed for himself. It is when you share a vulnerability, not as a bid for sympathy, but as an offering of trust, giving him permission to shed his own armor. It is when you challenge a limiting belief he holds, not with criticism, but with a question that opens a door to a new possibility within him. In these moments, you are no longer just a partner or a lover. You become a transformative agent. You become the mirror in which he does not just see himself, but sees a version of himself that is wiser, stronger, and more conscious. He will begin to crave your presence, because with you, he feels more. He feels more seen in his struggles, more celebrated in his successes, more convicted in his purpose, more compassionately held in his failures. Your interactions are not just transactions, they are events. They leave a residue. He carries the echo of your conversation with him long after you have parted. He finds himself turning your words over in his mind, seeing his world through the new lens you have offered him. You become the source of his most valuable currency, the experience of a more meaningful, more vibrant, and more authentic existence. Though this requires you to be deeply grounded in your own emotional truth. You cannot resonate with his depths if you are fleeing from your own. You must be willing to feel the full spectrum of human emotion and to engage with the world from that place of felt experience. This is the source of your power. It is not a technique to be applied, but a depth of being to be accessed. So stop communicating for the sake of filling silence. Cease the noise. Choose instead to imbue every interaction with a potent currency of genuine emotional resonance. Do not just talk to him, meet him. Do not just share your day, share the truth of your soul that the day revealed. Become the person with whom he experiences the profound relief of being truly, deeply, and impactfully met. For this is the addiction from which there is no desire to recover, the addiction to being fully alive, fully felt, and fully real in the presence of another. You have mastered the currency of emotional resonance, becoming a transformative agent in his life, a source of impact that leaves him forever altered. Yet, even the most profound impact can become familiar, its edges softened by routine, if there is not something more, something that exists beyond the realm of shared experience. This brings us to the most subtle and potent art, the cultivation of the inner sanctuary. This is not about building walls, but about cultivating a sacred, private garden within your own soul, so vibrant and vast that it creates an irresistible gravitational pull, a place he longs to be invited into, yet knows he can never fully possess. The common misconception of mystery is one of emptiness, of withholding information, of creating a blank space for his imagination to fill. But a vacuum eventually collapses. True enduring mystery is not an emptiness, it is a fullness so profound it can never be entirely communicated. It is the difference between a closed door and a door left slightly ajar, revealing a glimpse of a breathtaking, unseen garden within. Your inner world must become that garden. It is cultivated through your private passions, the books you read, that he will never see, the art you create that is just for you, the silent conversations you have with the universe, the personal rituals that connect you to your own depth. This is not a performance of secrecy, it is the practice of sovereignty. He will feel this. He will sense that while he has access to the beautiful living rooms and parlors of your being the paths you willingly share, there are always corridors leading to private chambers, walled gardens where you tend to the most sacred parts of yourself. This does not push him away. It draws him in with the most powerful force known to the human spirit, wonder. He becomes addicted not to what he knows of you, but to the thrilling, humbling awareness of what he does not know and may never fully know. You are not a puzzle to be solved, but a timeless epic to be wandered, with always another chapter unfolding just beyond his sight. This requires a fierce commitment to your own interiority. In a world that demands constant external validation and oversharing, you must become a guardian of your own privacy. You must value your solitary time, not as loneliness, but as the essential soil in which the roots of your soul grow deep. Your thoughts, your dreams, your struggles with God, these are the treasures you keep in your sanctuary. When you choose to share a glimpse of them, it is not a confession, but a sacred bestowal of trust. He does not feel he is extracting information from you. He feels he is being granted a rare audience with a queen in her private chambers. This inner richness radiates outward as a quiet, unshakable confidence. You are never fully known because you are constantly in a state of becoming. You are a verb, not a noun. He remains an explorer in the territory of your spirit, forever discovering new landscapes, new depths, new horizons. The addiction is to this endless exploration. To lose you would be to not just lose a partner, but to lose access to the most fascinating journey of his life. So, nurture your sanctuary. Tend to your private garden with devotion. Let him hear the fountain from the other side of the wall and catch the scent of unknown flowers on the breeze. For the ultimate addiction is not to a person, but to the boundless, mysterious, and life-giving universe they contain within. Become that universe, and he will forever orbit your light, forever captivated by the worlds he senses spinning within you. Forever hungry for the next sacred glimpse, you have cultivated your inner sanctuary, becoming a universe of private wonders that commands his eternal fascination. Yet, for all the power of mystery, there is a force even more primal, even more compelling. It is the force of recognition, the moment one soul looks into another and sees not who they are, but who they were always meant to be. This is the sacred function of the mirror of potential. To make him addicted to you, you must learn to hold up a glass to the hero, the king, the visionary that lives within him, the man he has forgotten, or worse, never dared to believe he could become. Every man carries a hidden self, an internal architecture of his highest potential. This is his essential unconquered spirit. But life, with its disappointments and compromises, layers over this core with dust. He builds a functional identity, the reliable employee, the good enough partner, the man who gets by. He may not even be aware of the sleeping giant within. When you, through the clarity of your perception and the unwavering strength of your belief, begin to gently wipe away that dust, you perform the most sacred of alchemies. You are not flattering his ego. You are awakening his soul. How is this mirror held? It is not in empty praise. It is not in telling him he is strong. It is in speaking to him as if he already is that strength. When he wavers in a difficult decision, you do not tell him what to do. You look at him and say, I trust your judgment. I have seen the integrity of your choices. When he faces a challenge, you do not rush to solve it for him. You stand beside him and say, I have never seen you face something you couldn't overcome. I believe in your capability. You are not reflecting his fear or his fatigue. You are consistently, patiently reflecting his courage, his resilience, his innate power. You speak to the man he aspires to be, and in your presence, he gets to practice being that man. This is why your presence becomes a drug. With others, he is seen for his accomplishments, his status, his utility. With you, he is seen for his essence. You connect him to a version of himself that is more aligned, more potent, and more true than the one he presents to the world. To be with you is to feel himself stepping into his own greatness. It is to experience the profound relief and exhilarating terror of being truly seen in one's fullest potential. He becomes addicted not to you, but to the elevated version of himself that you conjure into being simply by refusing to see him as anything less. This requires immense strength on your part. You must see this potential even when it is obscured. You must hold the vision when he fails, reflecting not the failure, but the lesson within it that is forging his character. You are not his cheerleader, you are his witness. You are the scribe recording the epic of his life as it is written, always seeing the heroic arc, even in the darkest chapters. To lose you would feel like losing the map to his own soul, like going blind to his own best possibilities. So, learn to see with the eyes of the soul. Look past the man he is, and speak to the man he is destined to become. Do not flatter the persona, reflect the self, become the living mirror in which he does not see his limitations, but his limitless potential. For the most powerful addiction of all is the addiction to one's own true, magnificent, and unconquerable self. When you become the source of that revelation, you become irreplaceable. You become the home his soul has been searching for all its life. And so we arrive at the final, most potent truth. We have spoken of becoming a vessel for archetypes, of radiating self-worth, of cultivating an unpredictable soul, of trading in the currency of emotional resonance, of guarding a sacred inner sanctuary, and of holding the mirror to his highest self. Yet all of these, powerful as they are, can still be subtly twisted by the ego into a new, more sophisticated system of control. The ultimate addiction, the one from which there is no recovery and no desire to escape, is born from the final, most demanding surrender. It is the sorcery of unconditional reality. To achieve this, you must cease to be a source of validation altogether and become instead a grounded, unwavering source of what is true. Every other form of addiction has an element of transaction. He performs, and you reward with admiration. He fails, and you withdraw affection. This is the economy of the ego, and it creates a dependency, not an addiction. Dependency is needy, it clings. True addiction is a freestanding fascination. The final sorcery, therefore, is to remove yourself entirely from this economy. Your love, your attention, your very presence must cease to be a reward for good behavior and become a natural, unwavering expression of your own being, regardless of his actions. You become like the sun, which shines not because the earth is worthy, but because shining is its nature. This is terrifying for him and for you. He can no longer manipulate your affections through praise or punishment. He cannot win your love. He can only step into the radiant field of it, which is always present, but which demands he meet it with equal authenticity. You are no longer a mirror reflecting only his potential, but a clear pane of glass revealing reality itself, his strengths, his weaknesses, his evasions, his truths. You offer not unconditional approval, but unconditional presence. You see him, all of him, and you do not flinch. You do not rush to fix him, nor do you run from his shadows. You hold a space of such profound acceptance of what is that he feels for the first time, that he can finally stop performing. He can finally lay down the exhausting armor of his persona and just be dot in this space. Something miraculous happens. The addiction transforms from being to you to being to the state of being you make possible. With you, he experiences the profound relief of existential truth. He experiences the freedom of being known, truly and fully known, without judgment, without agenda, without the need to manage your perception. Your reality becomes a sanctuary more profound than any mystery. He is addicted to the oxygen of authenticity that you provide to be. Without, you would feel like being forced to put on a stuffy, ill-fitting suit after years of breathing free. This requires you to be so rooted in your own truth that his opinions and actions cannot uproot you. Your sense of self must be forged in the fires of your own introspection, independent of him. You must become a self-contained universe, governed by your own laws of integrity and compassion. You are not defined by the relationship. The relationship becomes a territory where two sovereign beings meet to explore the truth of themselves and each other. Not so. Let go of the final, desperate need to be needed. Let go of the desire to be his mirror, his sanctuary, his muse. Become instead his reality. Become the ground beneath his feet. Become the clear air he breathes. Become the unwavering truth teller of your own soul, and in doing so, grant him the courage to face his own. The ultimate addiction is not to a person. It is to the liberating, terrifying, and magnificent experience of being fully real. When you become the source of that experience, you cease to be a person he desires and become a state of grace he cannot live without. This is the final sorcery, to make him addicted not to you, but to the most authentic version of himself, which only exists in the fearless, truthful, and utterly real world of your presence. This is the end of our journey. We began with the hunger to be desired, and we end with the profound realization that the only desire worth inspiring is the desire for truth. We have dismantled the games and burned the rule books of manipulation. The path to making him addicted to you was never a path toward him at all. It was the heroic inward journey toward the unshakable throne of your own soul. You are now the architect of your own magnetism. You are the vessel of archetypes, the sun of self-worth, the unpredictable soul, the source of resonant impact, the guardian of a sacred sanctuary, the mirror of potential, and the ground of reality. You are no longer a seeker of validation, but a sovereign, being dot, go forth from this place, not with a new set of techniques, but with a new state of being. Do not seek to make him addicted. Seek to become so utterly, powerfully, authentically yourself that addiction is not a goal, but a natural, inevitable consequence of your presence. You are the source. The addiction will follow that. Thank you.